being said, today we've got a guest who has sat where you're sitting right now, which is always cool when former Mustangs come back and want to share with you, right? Because they were Mustangs. Ashley Wilson was a student of mine for a couple of years, and I would rank her definitely one of the faves. Robinson, you're nowhere close to that.
Thanks.
And she is someone who has overcome critical life challenges and continues to not only do that, but do so with a fantastic attitude and all the challenges that life has presented to her. So with that, MBC graduate, Ashley Wilson.
How are you guys doing? Long school day?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Alrighty then.
I feel you on that. So again, my name is Ashley Wilson, and I graduated class of 2016. And what I'm about to share with you guys, a few people have heard it. I've talked about it. I have a YouTube channel called Ashley's Roses where I've talked about this, but I'm going to get very transparent with you guys and tell you about experience that in a different way that not many people have heard it. But before I go into that, I'm going to give you guys some background information about me so you know where I'm coming from and how I've gotten to where I am today. So I was born with a genetic illness called cystic fibrosis, and it affects the lungs, digestive system, and different organs in the body. And basically what happens is that the body creates a really thick, sticky mucus that covers the different organs and clogs the ducts, which are the different passageways of the organs, causing them not to work properly. So for my lungs, I'm not able to breathe properly, so I have to do breathing treatments so I can breathe better and get the oxygen that I need. For my digestive system, I have to take enzymes so that I can digest my food and receive the nutrients that I need from all the food that I eat. And for my pancreas, my body can't produce the insulin that it needs or to keep my blood sugars balanced, so I have to take insulin, so I'm basically diabetic as well. And my liver, I'm going to get into that a little bit later. So cystic fibrosis, it is a life-threatening illness, and currently there's an estimation of 70,000 people worldwide who have this illness, and approximately 30,000 live in the United States. And there is no cure, and the life expectancy, it used to be in the 20s, but just recently they moved it up to mid-40s because of all the advancements that they've made in medication, which is amazing. But with that said, going along with your guys' theme of having a song and integrating it with your faith, the song that I chose was One Republic's song, I Live. And this song is actually a huge song in the cystic fibrosis community because this was the first pop group that featured someone with cystic fibrosis in their music video and brought a lot of awareness to it. And basically the whole summary of the song is living life to the fullest and not taking things for granted. And some people might say that I say all this, live life to the fullest and all the cliche things, and you may think I say that because I have a life-threatening illness. And yes, I say that, but also I say that because I'm human. And I can relate to a lot of you guys. I go through the motions of life. And when I was younger, I really went through the motions of life where it was getting to a point where I wasn't staying in the moment of what was happening around me. And I was just thinking so far into my future where I wasn't grateful for the people that I was around. I wasn't grateful for the life I was living. I wasn't grateful for living here in California. But it wasn't until summer of 2015 that changed my life and turned it upside down. So summer of 2015, I was training for golf. For those who don't know, I was in the varsity girls golf team here, junior and senior year. And I was the healthiest I had ever been. My lungs were great, all the tests were great. Nothing was wrong. Everything was going great. And this golf camp is pretty intense. We had to play golf for about 5 to 6 hours a day. So third day, I came home and I just had this excruciating pain throughout my body. And it wasn't the type where I'm sore and tired of working out. It was the type where nothing could take the pain away. and a pain that's hard to describe. It's almost like being sore from working out, head to toe, every single muscle of your body. So I took a pain reliever because I thought that would help, and 15 minutes later, I threw that up. So naturally, I stayed home the next day, because obviously. And next day, I ended up throwing up 3 more times, and this time it was blood. So I was rushed to the ER and began having blood transfusions, then taken up to my hospital. And this is where I was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis liver disease. Now this was a shock to me and my family because when you're diagnosed with cystic fibrosis liver disease, it's progressive. Like, you notice signs early on that this will happen to you. That didn't happen to me because all the tests, all the results, it was coming back normal. There was nothing wrong. So this just came out of the blue. Now, the reason why I had cystic fibrosis liver disease was because my liver was so scarred from the mucus, because the mucus can cause scarring, and also the ducts of my liver were clogged with mucus to where the blood couldn't flow through it like it's supposed to. Now, what I didn't say earlier about with the mucus scarring different organs is that once the mucus causes a scar on that organ, that part of your organ doesn't work anymore. So my lungs have a tiny little scar on it, so that little part of my lung doesn't work anymore. My pancreas is really scarred, so that's another reason why I have to take insulin. And now my liver is scarred, and so I had to be put on the liver transplant list, and I was given a TIPS procedure. And basically what the TIPS procedure is when they put a tiny little shunt, it's like a tiny little tube that they put into the main artery vein of your liver to help with the blood flow. And the reason why earlier when the blood flow wasn't working, it backed up to the nearest opening, which was my esophagus. So I was bleeding internally and needed 4 pints of blood. So I was in the hospital for about 2 weeks, and this is like my world was just crashing around me, because here I was at my healthiest, and then I was at the lowest. And there was nothing I could really do about it, because this was out of the blue, and I didn't know what was going on. And I was just like, Lord, why and how does this happen that fast? Like, what caused this? What did we miss? So my body responded well to the TIPS procedure, so I was sent home, and 3 days later, my ammonia levels elevated. Now, everyone has ammonia levels in their body, and it's supposed to stay in a certain range. And if it exceeds that range and starts to elevate, it can become a toxin to your brain. So I don't know what all the different ranges are for everybody, because it's too complicated to memorize. But for me, it's supposed to stay like the 15s to like the 50s. That's a pretty good range for me. And during those 3 days, I had a stomach ache that was not like anything I'd ever experienced. So we ran tests, everything was fine. My ammonia levels were in the 30s, and then it went from 30 to 201 in 24 hours. And that is a huge toxin to your brain. And when it's a toxin to your brain, you tend to act dazed, confused, and completely opposite of your character. So for me, I was acting dazed and confused in the beginning, saying like, I don't know what's going on with me, something hurts, I don't know. And we didn't catch those signs early on. We didn't know that that was leading to elevated ammonia levels. So when it hit 201, I was basically like a monster child. Like, you know when you go into grocery stores or toy stores or anything, and aisle over you hear this kid like screaming its head off because it really wants that candy or it really wants that toy? That was basically me. I was screaming at my parents, throwing things around my room. I almost broke one of my medical equipment because I couldn't turn it on, so I thought throwing it across the room was the most logical thing to do, which it's really not. Don't recommend that. And then my parents took me to the ER, but before they did that, they took me to my friend's house, who also has cystic fibrosis, hoping she could talk some sense into me. She wasn't there, and I'm glad she wasn't there, because then she wouldn't have to see me the way I was. And then after the ER, I was rushed up to my hospital again. And between that time, for 7 hours. And I don't remember those 7 hours. I remember staying at my friend's house, then I remember waking up at the ICU in my hospital. Now between that time, my parents filled in the details about that, and that involved screaming at my parents, yelling at doctors, being restrained to the bed because I refused to take my medication and because I was being very violent towards everyone. Now people who know me know that I'm not that way. I mean, yes, I have my many moments where I'm very sarcastic and very sassy, but I'm not to the point where I'm getting very violent towards anyone. So the reason why my ammonia levels elevated was because of my protein diet. And with cystic fibrosis, and because my digestive system isn't able to absorb all of the nutrients, I have something that's called malabsorption. And the easiest way to explain it is if you take a Subway sandwich, a foot-long Subway sandwich, and if I ate all of it, my body only absorbed half of it. So I have to eat double the amount of protein, double the amount of pretty much everything. So because I ate so much protein, that elevated my ammonia levels, and it somehow coincided with my TIP procedure, which got to the point of 201 ammonia levels and acting like a monster child. So we had to lower my protein levels to 50 grams of protein a day, which to me is, I was pretty much starving. I was not getting enough nutrients that I needed. So that helped lower my ammonia levels, and I was sent home. And I was on the 50 grams of protein diet for about a week and a half. Then they slowly started to bump it up to where I was able to get all the nutrients that I needed. Now when I was let out for the hospital for the second time, this was 3 days before senior year of high school, before the first day of school. And I told all my doctors that I was going to go to my first day of school, and they didn't believe me. But the only thing I was saying the whole time while I was in ICU was, God, you're the only one who can get me out of here. You know, I don't know why this has happened to me. I don't know why I'm suddenly on a transplant list. I don't know how I went from my healthiest to my worst in just a month. But all I want to do is go to my first day of school and see all my friends. And my doctors didn't believe that that was possible, and that was possible. I went to my first day of school. I was exhausted. I slept in Mrs. Hoy's class. She let me, though. Make that for the record. She let me sleep in her class. And it was great to see all my teachers and all my friends who've been praying for me. But with that said, you're probably trying to connect the dots of how does that relate to One Republic song, I Lived, and living life to the fullest. Before that, I went through the motions so many times. I wasn't happy with where I was, as I said that earlier. And I was the type of person who was planning out my future. I wanted to go to University of Northern Colorado, study to become a theater teacher, move away from California as far away as I could, because I used to live in Colorado and moved to California, and I didn't like living here. So I wanted to move far away from here, far as I could. So I thought going home to Colorado was the best option for me. But senior year, I learned I don't want to be a theater teacher. I want to be an occupational therapist. And I learned this because, A, I became really interested in psychology because of Coach Hoove. Secondly, I learned that I wanted to go into occupational therapy because I didn't want anyone to experience what I experienced. And the way I've learned it over the past few years is that if you're looking so far in the future, A, you're not content where you are, and B, you're going to miss the opportunities that are right here in front of you. And also what I've learned is if you keep looking back in the past and regret, or saying shoulda, coulda, woulda, you're also going to miss what's happening right here, right now, and you're also going to miss the opportunities that are going to be given to you. Now, a lot of people ask me, why still talk about 2015? If it really caused so much pain, if it really caused anxiety, if it really caused post-traumatic stress disorder, if it really caused depression, why still talk about it? Because I just said a couple seconds ago, don't look back and regret. I don't look back and regret that that happened. I thank God that that summer happened. Because if that summer hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here talking to you guys. I would probably still trying to figure out how to get to Colorado. And I'm so thankful that I'm still here. And this fall, I'm going to be going to Biola University and studying psychology, and then later on, who knows where, for occupational therapy. And because of that, I learned to really treasure the people that you're with. Really treasure the places where you're at. And not regret anything. Because my past, I can't erase what happened. I have a scar from the procedure. I have memories from everything that happened. That you can't erase. But it's everyone's choice whether they want to turn what's happened in the past into a positive. And I chose the positive route because if I kept going down the negative path, I'd probably still be depressed. Or I don't even know what I'd be doing right now. And I know that there are some of you guys here who may not be Christians, and I get that, and it's everyone's choice if you want to become a Christian or not. But I can definitely say that if I hadn't relied on God through getting me through that time, I don't know where I'd be. And as scary as that is to say, I don't know if I'd still be here, or if I don't know what my life would be, if I'd be right here talking to you guys, or if I'd even be alive. But I can definitely say that because I'm learning to trust God, and even though the straight and narrow is so hard to follow sometimes, trust me guys, I know God will give you such amazing rewards and will give you opportunities you never thought were possible. I never thought I'd come here and talk to you guys. I was just kidding with Mr. Cleffer when I was just like, yeah, I'll come back and talk at chapel one day. I was like, okay, cool, come in March. Right on. So there's amazing opportunities that God has for you. All you have to do is ask Him for it, and He will extend His hand to you and show you the amazing things that He can do for you. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Acknowledge Him, and in all your ways He will make your path straight. Thank you guys. Yeah, go
Hey,
ahead.
I'm gonna go ahead and play the song, and then we'll have a couple minutes after that, and I'm gonna ask you some of the lyrics that really stood out for you as well. So let's go ahead and check out the song. Hey, actually, I want to ask you a couple questions before we take off today.
Yes.
One of the things that you had mentioned is technology and medicine and science have come a long way.
Mm-hmm.
You're 20-ish?
20, yes.
20? Okay. So in another year, all those things you've been doing will actually be legal. That's exciting.
Thanks.
You're welcome. But let me ask this though, because you said it's like 40s, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a dude who's in his 40s,
Mm-hmm.
right? I can look back now and think about when I was 20 and go, wow, that went really fast. And certainly none of us in here are guaranteed a set amount of days.
Mm-hmm.
But when you hear things like early 40s, mid 40s, what kind of impact does that have on you and your decisions of how you live your life every day?
It really makes you take everything as a blessing every single day that you're given.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really look at the age limit as something like, oh, getting close to 40, I might die. When I was in high school, I believe the age was early 20s, and someone said to me, no, you're probably going to die in your 20s. And I'm like, no, I have a feeling I'm going to die like when I'm 80, and it's probably me just being really stupid. I don't think it's going to be related to CF.
Okay.
So,
Well, let's hope that's the case.
Yeah.
You're parachuting out of an airplane at age 80 on your birthday. That'd be amazing. Nice. But let me ask this though, because we aren't guaranteed a set amount of days, and I think that in the hustle and bustle of being a college student, being a high school student, being an educator, we can get so wrapped up into the here and now and writing a lesson plan or studying for a test or whatever else it is. What would you want people that are here now, your fellow Mustangs, what would you want them to leave here with, like this one thing that you could give them as a gift, as far as do this or think about this or act a certain way?
say just really just remember to count your blessings. Me, even though I've said that, but it's really true. Just remember to count your blessings, because the people sitting next to you, you never know what's going to happen to them tomorrow. And the people who you pass on the street every day, you don't know what's going to happen to them tomorrow. You know, we're never granted another day. You know, God could come back tomorrow, and
Right.
that's it.
Right.
So,
And for you, like counting your blessings, is that typically done in like quiet moments of reflection? Is it through journaling? Like what are some things practically that have worked for you?
I think for me, it's just really taking the time to stop and just look at the world around you. The other day I was driving to school and I got stuck in traffic. I'm like, dang it, I'm gonna get late for class again. And I looked up and I'm like, oh, I never noticed that tree before. That's a cool tree. Like, you just,
So the smaller things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Outstanding. As we ready to wrap things, do any of you have a question for Ashley? See, you've impacted them so greatly that they have no questions. That's amazing. Thanks for hanging out with us today.
of course.
Before you take off, will you please give Ashley a hand?